Welcome to the deep dive. We sift through different sources, find the core ideas, and basically give you the shortcut to getting up to speed.
That's the goal.
So today, we're actually diving into something maybe a bit unexpected, gardening. Specifically, the very first stages of growth for Vinca and Petunia plants.
Right. Tiny little seedlings.
Yeah, and our source material, it's pretty unique. It's from something called Notes on Gardening, Part 626. It sounds like a personal log from a hobbyist gardener, someone named Ang, dated August 15th, 2025.
Interesting. Personal logs could be gold mines.
Exactly. And our mission here is to pull out, those surprising little facts and really practical takeaways from Ang's detailed notes. Stuff that helps not just with gardening maybe, but also with like the whole skill of just noticing things.
And it's amazing how often these niche observations, these very specific details, can actually teach us broader lessons. It really does come down to how closely you look,
Yeah.
what patterns you notice, and how you apply that really anywhere.
Okay, so let's unpack this then. Ang starts off with something that, well, it kind of goes against the grain, doesn't it?
Uh-huh.
Ang says, and I'm quoting here, "I've had better luck with germination rates from seeds sourced from hobbyist gardeners compared to those from typical seed vendors."
Wow. Okay.
Right? And adds that the quality and germination rates for both Vinca and Petunia seeds have been excellent from these, like, non-commercial sources. That's quite something, especially with all the marketing from big seed companies. What do you think is going on there?
Well, what's fascinating here is the whole implication about sourcing, isn't it? It's not just about seeds. It's a lesson in like looking beyond the usual suspects, the established players.
Yeah.
Sometimes the best stuff, the most reliable inputs, they come from these, passionate communities, these networks, not necessarily the big commercial operations.
So like enthusiast networks versus big business.
Exactly. Think about open source software, maybe,
Yeah.
or local craftspeople versus mass production. It kind of makes you question where real quality or even just reliability comes from sometimes. It might be these unexpected places.
That's a great point. Okay, so Ang finds these surprisingly good seeds from hobbyists, but the observations don't stop at just, getting them to sprout.
Right.
What Ang saw next with the Petunia seedlings specifically, this gives us an even finer point. Here's where it gets really interesting, I think.
Okay.
Ang describes this fascinating discovery about the Petunia seedlings. They're cotyledons, first little seed leaves.
Yeah, the very first ones.
They already display a distinctive vertical line down the center. And Ang also notes their growth has been relatively fast compared to the tiny Petunia seedling next to them, a vertical line right from the start. That seems like a super specific detail for a tiny plant. Why is that detail so significant?
Okay, so if we connect this to the bigger picture, it's all about tiny details, give you big insights, right?
Mhm.
Those cotyledons, they're critical. They're the plant's first little energy pack before the real leaves develop.
Gotcha. Seed leaves.
Exactly. And having such a clear, immediate visual marker, like that line, that's gold for a gardener. It means you know what you've got instantly. You don't have to wait weeks for the true leaves to show up and hope you remember what was planted where.
So it cuts out the desk work early on.
Totally. It's
Yeah.
like that aha moment Ang probably had.
Yeah.
When you're learning something new and suddenly you spot this one little thing. Could be anything, a specific way to hold something, a tiny visual cue, and it just clicks.
Yeah, makes sense. That unlocks understanding.
That's the power Ang is tapping into here. Early, clear identification from a simple observation.
Okay, so Ang's got these great seeds from an unexpected source and a really clear way to tell the petunias apart from, presumably, the vincas right from day one. So what does Ang do with this knowledge? How does it make things, well, easier?
Right, the practical application.
Yeah, Ang says, "I also found it efficient to germinate Vinca and Petunia together to save space, as their seedlings have easily distinguishable differences."
Okay, and this raises an important question, or rather, it answers one. Why is it efficient?
Right.
It's efficient because Ang knows those differences.
Yeah.
That vertical line on the Petunia cotyledon, maybe the Vinca ones look different, I don't know, but the point is they are different, clearly different, early on.
So you can mix them.
You can mix them. You can plant them together in the same tray, save space, save resources, because you're not confused. Seedling A is Petunia, seedling D is Vinca, right from the get-go. No need to carefully label separate pots or worse, wait and try to separate them later when their roots are tangled.
Avoiding the tangle. I can see how that saves time and probably some seedlings, too.
Absolutely. Now, think about that for, the listener. Think about your own projects, whatever they are. What are those equivalent cotyledon signals? those tiny, maybe overlooked early signs that if you just trained yourself to spot them, could save you massive amounts of time or headache later on. It's about developing that microvision for macro efficiency, you could say.
Microvision for macro efficiency. I like that. Okay, so let's wrap this up. From Ang's gardening notes, seemingly simple notes, we've actually pulled out some pretty potent ideas.
Yeah, definitely.
First, the surprising advantage of looking at alternative sources, like hobbyist networks, over the usual commercial ones.
Spot on, the value in community.
Second, the real power of noticing specific visual details, like that line on the petunia leaf, for super early identification.
That aha moment from observation.
And third, how knowing those distinct differences allows you to be much more efficient, like germinating different things together safely, optimizing your effort.
Leveraging differences for efficiency, it's smart.
So some really practical stuff from just watching seedlings grow.
And maybe the final thought here for everyone listening, just consider how often we might overlook those subtle early signs in whatever we're doing.
Yeah.
What tiny distinctive details could you be noticing, like right now, that might fundamentally shift how you approach something? Could be a hobby, could be work, could just be, paying attention to the world a bit more closely.
Mm-hmm.
What are your cotyledon lines?
That's a great question to chew on. What are those early signals we might be missing? We hope you carried these ideas into your own observations. Thanks for joining us on the Deep Dive.
Keep looking closely.
Until next time.